I broke down crying, bro. I literally broke down crying, like on my knees, boohooing in the closet. Like I didn't know what to say,
It's your
but
boy Mike
my
Teezy.
tears was a prayer. You know what I'm saying? My
Hey,
crying out my
I'm
mouth
back
like,
and I'm
yo,
better than ever
I'm
before.
back.
Went through the fire, but I came out cold. I know that my end ain't gon' look nothing like my beginning. Just watch how the story unfold. Even in Rome, I cannot do what y'all doing. I guess that I'm breaking the mold. I know my role, I'm back and I'm bold. You can hear it in the sound of my tone. I'm independent, but I've been dependent on my father cause he been defending me. I bet any minute he can come with the quickness, so don't try to test his agility. The enemy silly, he said he was smoke, so I'm puffing it out like a chimney. I told him speak up if he thinking that he'll get the victory. We just heard crickets and that's where the Jiminy. Him and his minions will not get the minion, and that's probably something he already know. Back in the lab making rap after rap on I rest on the Sabbath, come back with some more. Had my back on the ropes, but I catapult forward. I use it as force like I'm Rocky Balboa. Snakes in the grass, so I pull out my mower. Ain't nothing new like I've been in before. This is spiritual war.
Welcome to King Legend Talks. We got the one and only Mike Teezy in the building.
Yes, sir.
So, man, we got to get right to it. First of all, I want to say appreciate your time today, man. I know you've really been busy. You got a lot of stuff going on. For real.
But nah, I appreciate the
So,
opportunity to come on, man, for real.
absolutely, my brother. So, let's get right to it, man. So, let's go ahead. Let's talk about your beginning, your music. Introduce yourself to the people that
Oh,
may not know
okay.
you. Let's talk about it.
So I go by the name of Mike Teezy. Growing up in the church, like I've always heard, the Christian rapper, the typical Christian rapper, which was the deacons of, what I'm saying, the church or whatever. And then it wasn't always like that thing, you know what I'm saying? So of course I never really appealed to that type of music. And as a dancer, like I really just wanted to dance to whatever I heard. So a lot of the worldly music, that's what I was dancing to at the time. I
Right.
dedicated my life to God in 2012. And
Mm-hmm.
then I wanted to change like what I was dancing to, and I didn't know of Christian hip hop at that time. And so I was like, let me make my own songs, and I started remixing whatever was popular at the time, and started putting that on YouTube, and it started taking off. I was like, maybe I can actually, do this thing. So that's kind of what really shifted and started everything. But yeah, that's
Absolutely.
where the music side started. But I got a ton of other stuff we could talk about, but I'll let you
Absolutely.
uncover that for sure.
Now you done been through a lot of stuff, bro. Like we can't even skip over. Like he
Yeah.
being mad humble right now, y'all. I hope y'all know that he being extremely humble. But we gonna go ahead and we gonna talk about it. To God be all the glory, first of all. But he is being extremely humble right now, which is a good thing. You know what I'm saying? I met this guy in person, and I'm trying to tell you, when you meet him, it's just like anybody else. He's just got that kind of humble, welcoming spirit where you can talk to you, have a genuine conversation. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the things I can compliment you on, my brother, for real. So let's talk about miracles, man, because a
Yeah,
lot of people
yeah,
they hear about miracles and they be talking about it. If you're not really tapped in, you be thinking it's a thing of the past, right?
fact. Nah,
No, this is still happening. So
right
let's talk
now.
about
Yeah,
some of the miracles you've been through in
yeah,
your life, starting at a very young
yes,
age.
yeah. So at 7 years old, I was run over by a drunk driver. My legs were twisted the opposite way. The doctors told me I'd be paralyzed for the rest of my life. I'll never walk again. But God healed me in 20 minutes like that. The doctors didn't even put a hand on me. God just healed me. My legs were mended. Everything was good. I was doing flips out the hospital. Um,
Wow.
yeah, like so it was really crazy. How fast everything just happened.
So
God
at
just
12 years old,
I
it
was
was at seven. At seven, wow. I'm about to ask you a couple questions, but what is a 7-year old thinking
man,
throughout
I
that
didn't know what
process?
to be honest. So what happened was we had a death in our family. And in West Virginia, they bring food to you, you know what I'm saying, if you're going through or whatever. And so this lady that was a friend of my parents, like she was bringing food over and her son was in the car. And we was
Mm-hmm.
cool. We were young back then or whatever. So he was just sitting in the car. So she was like, I'm about to go get him. And I was like, okay, then I'm gonna go with you. Of course, I didn't say that, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
on the back side of my parents' car. And the lady and my sister is on the front side of the car. I wanted to be big and bad. I wanted to go on the back side because I want to be by myself type deal. And so I bent down to tie my shoe, and this drunk driver is swerving, going crazy, and just hits me and then runs over my legs. I end up under my parents' car. Don't even know how. End up under their car, and I can't move. I can't walk. So I'm using my elbows to get to the side of the road. To get
Man.
car and get on the sidewalk to pull myself up on our hill that we had, like in front of our house.
So what was your parents' initial reaction when they saw that?
Jesus. That was their initial reaction. Like legit. It's like, so the lady that was there, she called the cops for them because they didn't know what to think. They were just, of course, my mom, now she's going through it. My dad, he don't know what to say. The cops, they get the ambulance there and they finally show up and then they want to ask all these questions. How old is he? Like, what happened? And my parents were just like, Jesus. Jesus. Like, that's literally their response to every question that was asked. And they was like, you know what, let's just get him to the hospital. So they put me in an ambulance. They rushed me to the hospital. And like I said, 20 minutes from being strapped on this bed, God just healed me.
Man, God
I don't even
good.
remember, like, if there was an angel in the room. I don't know what happened. It just happened so fast. And it was a miracle just like that. And so I was literally doing flips out the hospital, bro. And my aunt, like, she was rushing trying to get to see me in the hospital. And by the time she got there, because she was taking the bus at that time, and she got there, I was literally doing flips out the hospital as she was trying to walk to the hospital. So it was just that fast how it happened. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. And that's only one of the many.
No, we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it.
For sure.
So that's the first one that you can think of that was just, really big. Of course, I mean, it's not every day someone gets hit by a drunk driver, let alone get ran over by one, and be able to walk and talk about it.
And live.
Yeah.
Facts, man. It's crazy.
That's amazing. So everybody goes through this journey, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to their faith, in Jesus Christ. So for you, especially based on what you just told me, your parents were in a church, correct? Yeah. So with that happening in your life, what was it that made your relationship with Christ personal? Because you see, you can be raised in church and you can hear all of this stuff go in one ear, out the other ear. But what made it personal for Mike Teezy?
So listen, even after that miracle, I still question God's purpose for me. Like I said, I grew up in the church, but I always played the background. I played the drums. I was dancing. Like, that was it. I thought I was supposed to be in the back. You know, my sister could sing, my dad could sing, my mom could sing. My whole family is musically inclined, right? But I never found my voice. So I was good enough. If I, can I have this talent? Can I have this gift? Like, God, what do you want me to do? You know what I'm saying? I literally stayed in the back my entire life. I've been shy. I was like quiet. But in that is where I found my purpose. So I struggled with, depression, suicidal attempts at a very young age.
Right.
I draw up plans of how I was going to kill myself, bro. It was like that deep. I just hated life, and it was really because it was just seeds from the enemy. You know what I'm saying? Like, those were things that was placed in my mind, no matter if it was a teacher, because I had a teacher. I wish I could say it in a right way. I'm gonna just say she was racist, but she was also black. It didn't make sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. There's a lot of black people that don't like black people.
Out of my name and just different things. And I was really like one of the smartest kids in my class. Like, I was acing everything. I would get done with my test first, and I would be drawing on the back of it or beating on the desk. And she tried to say I needed Ritalin, or I needed drugs, or what I'm saying. She thought something was wrong with me because I was
trying to put a label on you.
Facts. So all of these things was going on, man, at such an early age, and it just kind of stuck with me, throughout, high school, throughout middle school. So this was in West Virginia. We moved to North Carolina in 2000. So then, like, transitioning, what I'm saying, going through that phase, trying to figure out my place in this new space, in this new area. I still battle with being bullied. I still battle with all of these things. And like, going on to high school, it continued, but I still was dancing, what I'm saying? I kind of found my path in that. So I was wanted to dance, I wanted to hoop, and I was a musician. Like, that was my thing. Like, that's all I was doing, but out the way. But like I said, I really just battled with so much depression, bro, and suicide. And it really took, like, one of my friends, trying to fast forward the tape so we won't be here all night. But when I got to college, I got a phone call that one of my friends had got shot and killed. And we were co-captains of the basketball team. And he's the one that gave me the name Mike Teezy.
Ooh, okay.
And so he was like, bro, you dance like Chris Breezy. I'm going to start calling you Mike Teezy. And so it just stuck. You know what I'm saying? It stuck from there. But again, like, I get to college, and when I got that call, I was just like, man, like, I'm not even out here like wilding like that, but I was like, I could really be tapped in with God even more, because who knows? Because tomorrow's not promised for anybody, you know? And so that was only like one of the miracles that I shared earlier. But another miracle happened in 2005. I was actually in a car accident, and my lumbar tube was snapped in my lower back. It was snapped, broken. Again, they tell me I'll be paralyzed for the rest of my life. I'll never walk again. But God healed me the same night, bro. Like,
same night.
They literally took a picture where the bones were snapped. It was laying on top of each other. Like, it was literally snapped. And then the next x-ray, you see where God mended it. You know what I'm saying? But even in the midst of that, even in the midst of these miracles, I still question if I had a purpose. You know what I'm saying? So the thing that really made it personal for me is when I rededicated my life to God. I was in my dorm room at the time, and I was just praying, like just randomly just praying. Tears just started hitting, like just running down my face. And I didn't even know what to say. I didn't know what to do. And I started just writing this song in my head. And it was just saying, show me your way. Your path, oh God. Like, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know what God wanted me to do. And like I said, I was in college, so I thought he wanted me to be a graphic designer. I thought he wanted me to dance, but he had a whole nother plan. And the moment that I wrote that song and made that song, I shared it with my family on our way back to Winston. I was in Charlotte, and we was on our way back to Winston. And I shared that song with them, and they broke down. They was crying too. They broke down crying. I'm crying. I'm like, yeah, I wrote this song. Like, it just hit me. And then I had rededicated my life to God on like a New Year's Eve service. And then after that, like, it just shifted everything for me, like mentally. And I really wanted to focus and make sure I was doing everything for God's glory. You know what I'm saying? Even when it came to dancing, because I wasn't even making music like that at the time. I literally just wrote that song. Like, you know what I'm saying? I literally just wrote that song. So it was crazy to me, man. It was crazy. But that's really what made it personal, for sure.
Man, you just touched on so much.
Yeah.
So I don't want to skip over anything as far as like that depression goes, because a lot of people struggle and they deal with that depression, man. And for someone that was a believer in God, you know, dealing with depression, you know, I think that's important we be honest about that, because there's a lot of people that are in church and then, no, I'm not dealing with this, or I'm not dealing with that. And you're just putting on this mask for a lot of people. And so what was it that got you through that depression that you were dealing with? I mean, you went from suicidal.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So you went from being suicidal, dealing with depression for a couple of years in your life, to having that breakthrough. Can you go over that breakthrough with us?
Matter of fact, I just shared it with one of my artist friends. And I'm not trying to tell their business, but it was really my worship that really brought me through, like, for real. When I say surrender to God, like, I know that's like easier said than done in most cases, but that's literally what I had to do. I broke down crying, bro. I literally broke down crying, like on my knees, boohooing in the closet. Like, I didn't know what to say, but my tears was a prayer. You know what I'm saying? My crying out, my moaning, my yelling was a prayer. You know what I'm saying? In that instance, because God knows what we're trying to say before we even say it, as the word of God. But that's literally what I needed in that moment. I had to scream. I had to yell. I had to get it out some kind of way, because I was, you know, cutting myself, drawing up things. I was about to jump off a bridge. It was a lot of things that I almost tempted and did, you know what I'm saying, to try to take my own life. But worship was the key for me, man. Worship and prayer life, for real.
Absolutely, man. It's crazy when people don't even recognize the seriousness of actually having a relationship with God. Because when you broke down and you said, I didn't know what to say, I was just crying. What screamed in my mind was relationship, right? Because you see, when you got a relationship with God, there's some times where you don't even have to explain what's going on. But because that bond is there, that relationship is there, he already know. You know what I'm saying? And so through that was your prayer. It's no different than you're in an actual relationship with someone and your significant other is crying. Sometimes you don't have the words of encouragement to say, but you know exactly what's going on. And you know you just need to be there. And so God definitely shows up in those moments. And I'm so happy that you explained it that way because a lot of people needed to hear that.
Man,
that's a big deal.
Most definitely, man. It's almost like being in a relationship where, you know, you try to have a conversation with somebody and they finish your sentence. It's kind of like that, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, you know somebody like well enough, you know what they about to say, you know what they go like. It's literally that, bro. So it definitely relationship is key for sure.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the music, man, because you know we gonna talk about this music.
Yes, sir.
Mike Teezy got so many bangers, some hits. It's going viral all over the place. So he got a song called TikTok going viral, Bible going viral like TikTok, you know? So it's so many different songs that you got that's going crazy right now, man. To see that kind of feedback from people and that kind of support from people that believe in God and also people who don't.
Facts.
How did you take all of that in?
Man, it's still like really kind of new to me, to be honest, because for so long, even though I found my purpose in music, I still struggle with questioning it. Right. I know all of this time, all of these years going by, you know, God providing, God moving, so many miracles, but we're still in this fleshly body. So we always have, you know, those thoughts like, am I really good enough? Do they really like this music? Do they like me? Da, 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 da. So those are the thoughts that I've always, you know, battled with. And like in this season that I'm in right now, I'm just like liquid. I said this on another podcast I did maybe a week ago. And I'm literally like liquid, bro. I'm literally just flowing. Whatever God is doing right now, I'm going in that direction. I'm flowing with it because that's just the season he got me in right now. Right. And I feel like all the years prior, you know, I've literally just been, you know, sowing seeds and tilling the ground, you know, and as you see, Harvest, that's literally my brand. I've been rapping about sowing seeds for years, bro. It's really crazy. I've been rapping about tilling the ground, reaping the harvest. I've been rapping about that stuff for years. Right. Through my brand and what I stand for and what I'm trying to, you know, share with people, it's just crazy, man. And just starting to see some things manifest that I've been speaking over the years, bro. It's right.
Look, let me explain to you the importance of what you're doing, man. Yeah. And this is for all those religious folk out there who really ain't trying to hear this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Yeah. So the whole idea about planting seeds. Yeah. You know, a lot of times people they always brag, like I hear it all the time. I won this person's soul. I did this for that person. I won this. No, you did not win nobody's soul. No. You get what I'm saying? That's the mindset and twisted thinking a lot of people have. It's the seeds that was planted, but it was Jesus that saved their soul. For sure. And who is to tell Jesus he's only going to save somebody's soul this one way? Right, exactly. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. And so the music that you have, I'm going to give you an example, and this is a real life scenario. I got a guy, go to get my hair cut. You know, he's always talking, crazy mess in the barbershop. One day he need a ride. All right. Yeah. He know what type of time I'll be on, because they actually call me Preacher Man in the barbershop now. That's my new nickname. You know what I'm saying? When I come through the door, they're like, oh, here come Preacher Man, y'all. Here we go. You know what I'm saying? So he needed a ride. So let's talk about planting seeds. I gave him a ride, and I told him before he hopped in the car that you're going to listen to my playlist. Because in the barbershop, he play whatever he want to play. You know what I'm saying? So I said, you're going to listen to my playlist if you're in my car. So he hops in the car. He cool with it. Of course he's going to be. I'm giving him a ride, right? Right. So I put on the playlist, and he started like, ooh, this is hard. Okay. What is this? You know what I'm saying? It caught him so off guard because he understood that language. Facts. And so a lot of people don't understand, you know, you out here to win souls and to be fishermen, right? Facts. So part of doing that is having the right bait. And if you don't know anything about fishing, hooks ain't just out. I mean, fish ain't just out here getting hooked on anything. Right. You know what I'm saying? So when you have that bait out there with the music, because that's something that they understand, they're able to like, okay, first they just listening to it because it's a catchy beat. And that's what like 90% of the people do in the world nowadays. Yeah. Thanks. So it's not that hard to really get people hooked if you know what you're doing with a catchy beat. But here's the sauce. The lyrics. And so they go home and they like, man, what's the name of that song again? I'm going to listen to that real quick. Yeah. So they start tapping in, and then they start listening to the lyrics. Sure. And now what's happening? They have a mindset change. They start listening to the words, and then the value is there. It changes your heart and it builds your character.
Like that.
And so that's the importance of what you're doing. And I say that specifically for a lot of people that are religious and be like, nah, you shouldn't be doing it this way.
Right.
God only, that's not worship, and that's not who. To me, I say, who are you to say that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? What's your thought process on that, man? When somebody come at you and be like, man, that ain't of God.
I feel like it's just lack of knowledge. You know what I'm saying? And it's always, I feel like it's always on social media, of course, but it's so many different doctrines out there, bro. Like, people are really confused.
Right.
Like, so many people that's confused. They're making up their own religions and thinking that this is of God. This is what God wants us to do. He said, everybody be a fisherman. This is what we all need to do, is be a fisherman. Like, we all need the hats. We all need to have the rods. Nobody over here supposed to be baking. We all supposed to be fishing. Like, no, God can use anything.
Anything.
And in the Bible, there's so many different examples of parables where he's using different ways to say a certain thing or same thing. Or, like, there's so many ways that God can move, bro. And I feel like people are so stuck in their mindsets or stuck on a certain way. If you remember in the Bible where Moses, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they were thirsty, and God tells him to hit the rock, right? First he tells him, and he hits the rock, he get water out. Now there was another time where he said, you know, just speak to the rock. Moses is comfortable with the last way he did it, so he want to hit it.
Right.
But God can speak to it. That's a different way.
Different way.
A different emotion that God want to move in, and you going against that.
Right.
So you gonna hit the rock. When he says speak to the rock, you disobey God.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So everybody, there's a different task for each person in the kingdom of God.
A different task. I had someone explain it to me. I don't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
Nah, you good, bro.
I had someone explain it to me like this: a kingdom has more than one function, right?
That's what
when you think of a kingdom, not everybody is sitting there in the palace.
Facts.
There's rules and regulation and things that need to be tended to. That's also out in the field, and everybody has a different responsibility and a different role, but all together, they're still working for the kingdom.
The kingdom.
And that's what it's all about. You know what I'm saying? We all may have a different role, a different position. God might not have called you to do this. God may not have called you to do the same thing as somebody else. But as long as you're doing what God called you to do, that's all that matters.
That's it.
That's what it is. This stuff is not rocket science. This is so simple.
It's
crazy. Guess what? The devil is the author of confusion. So the things that are really simple, guess who's gonna try and complicate it?
Yeah.
That's what it is. So look, man, I really do appreciate you so much for coming through to the podcast. Is there anything you want to let the people know about what you're working on right now?
Listen, matter of fact, we got a song dropping tonight at midnight. It's called Just Like Marvin. But the month of November, I've been dropping a single every Friday because these songs have been going, quote unquote, viral, if you will. With a lot of the remixes that I've done within this month. So I've actually been dropping those, and I'm recreating one like literally right now. But listen, if you're not already following me, please do so. It's official Mike Teezy. If you need to get merch, if you need to get hats, shoes, whatever, it's on my website. It's www.miketeezymusic.com, or you can just tap the link in my bio. But that's pretty much
it. And I'm not even going to forget this. I forgot. I don't know why I forgot earlier. Listen, you have a couple of videos on your page that's hitting millions of views, right? Like you got one that's at 1.6 million views right now. It was the remix you did for Chris Brown, Under the Influence.
Yes.
Now, you've been viral before, but what was it about this time that's kind of like different?
So, man, the thing that's crazy is I've never hit the millions before.
Right.
Like, I was stoked when I hit 100K. I was like, oh, this is fire. Like, I got a video to hit it. You know what I'm saying? I'm hype off of that. But to have something to hit 1 million, I was like, oh, that's crazy. So we really reaching people. You know what I'm saying? This is really going past what the norm, past what I've not done before. And God is really moving in this season, bro. Like that's why I said earlier, I'm literally water. Whatever he want me to do, I'm going to flow in that. So idea, I was like, you know what, I'm going to do it because I know somebody can be blessed by this. And like I said, when I first got started, bro, I was doing these Christian remixes because I couldn't pay for beats. I didn't have like studio, nothing like that. So I would find a beat. I hit it one of my homies. I'm like, yo, can I lay down, a verse to this real quick? He let me come and rap in his studio. I would drop it on YouTube, but that's like literally where I started. So I know where I was then because I wanted fire music that wasn't cheesy, that wasn't corny, but was of God. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so to create that. And so I know there's people out there, even till this day, that are still searching for that sound that they're missing. You know what I'm saying? But they still want to glorify God. So that's what I wanted to do with that. And just seeing like the fruit of it has been crazy.
It's amazing. And any last words of encouragement for anybody tapping in?
Listen, man, if you tapped in right now, make sure y'all follow King Legend. That's one. And anything for inspiration wise, continue to seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be added. That's literally like one of the best things I can say. Because once you seek God, you'll find your purpose. You'll find everything that He wants for you to do. So yeah, for sure.
Absolutely, man. Look, it's Mike Teezy, y'all. Look, I really appreciate you for coming through to the podcast. I'm gonna definitely be tapped in with you, man. You already know I follow you up here on the gram. So much love to you, and God bless you, brother.
You too, bro.
How could you be a king and a legend, boy? That's a big one, huh?
It ain't enough to just be a king.
And you got the lion in the background, boy. You's a dangerous guy, man.
You are put through the fire. The only thing that kept me going was I knew it was going to happen. I believed it was going to happen.
So I used to print out that list, and I would put my name at the top. I would white out the person on the top, and I'd put my name. And I would print out that list, and I'd keep it in my pocket for the next 4 months. Until one day, the email that I got had my name at the top.